Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast, a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today.
Hello. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Brooklyn Tanner. Hello. Welcome to the show. We're so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for coming for all the good news today. It's going to be a great episode for you today. We have some really exciting stories. How are you doing? I'm doing really well. I'm excited to get into the stories today. So I wish I could hear how all of you are doing, but I hope that it's really good, and I hope that after this you're feeling even better. Today I'm going to tell you some really incredible stories about real life superheroes. Our top story today is super exciting, and then stay tuned to the end of the show where we hear about some people helping out some dogs and even some really exciting news about cake. That's right. Thanks so much for tuning in to the GSMC podcast, America Still Beautiful. Let's get right into it. America really is still beautiful because there are real life superheroes right here in our neighborhoods. Did you have a favorite superhero when you were a kid or even now? I think it's amazing how many superhero movies there are now. I feel like when I was a kid there was like 4 or 5 and then you kind of chose your favorite. I think Spider-Man was probably my favorite because it was like the first movie I saw, and I think I thought Mary Jane was really pretty, and Spider-Man was so cool. He was just like woke up and he had powers and tried to help people and loved his family. I thought that was so awesome, but there's so many movies now that like you can just watch. I feel like one comes out every month. I can't even keep up with the whole entire network of superheroes that there are. But have you ever seen one actually in action in real life? Well, in Long Beach, California, they have their own superhero. The man behind the mask is Yuri Williams. He's from Long Beach, and he has spent the past decade tirelessly working as a hero to help families in need. He's helped thousands, 100,000 people over the past 10 years. Now, he isn't always just happy because in 2009, unfortunately, he lost his mother to cancer. And as a way to cope, he started visiting other families that were going through something similar. He really became into his darkest hour when he was losing his mom, and so he decided he needed something to cope with. So what he said is, there's something I need to do to get rid of this sadness that I have. So I decided to start helping people. And that really uplifted him and, of course, uplifted others. People have been so lucky to receive his help and his love, not only in California, but throughout the entire nation. It's really amazing all of the people he has helped. He started out dressing up as Spider-Man, and he also dresses up as Deadpool sometimes, and he would go into the hospitals and visit families, and especially kids that were going through really serious and life-threatening problems, kids that had a ton of medications to take every day, lots of painful treatments, and extended stays in the hospital, who really could use an uplifting visit from a superhero. So he goes in there and chats with them, visits with them, lets them talk out what they're feeling, and also brings them a goodie bag full of prizes that they can use, all things that they can enjoy right there in the hospital while they are in this really difficult time. It helps break up that long time that they're in the hospital and gives them really happy memories and photos to look back on, even if every day isn't as wonderful as that one. And even with the coronavirus, visits to kids in the hospital are still happening virtually. He gets to call kids and all dressed up as a superhero, Skype with them, video chat with them. He is so amazing. So that's what he's been doing lately. But over the past 10 years, he has actually visited, get this, all 50 states in the United States twice. He's gone to every single state to help out people in need. He's also won a few grants over the years to help aid in funding this amazing project. And this is just what he does all the time. By profession, he is a youth corrections officer in Los Angeles and in Long Beach. And so he took those skills and the compassion that he had for youth going through a really tough time to become a literal superhero. It is so amazing. Now, his Facebook page is where you can find a lot of things that he's been up to lately. He posts updates about where he went and some videos about the people that he met. There was even a feature video there posted where they followed him for a day and just got some really inspiring shots of how he works as a superhero. I loved watching this video. It was so sweet because you can just see him get his superhero costume on and really go out there and see these kids, the ones that really need help the most. It is so inspiring. He's so sweet because he just has been motivating himself by continuing to do this for years and years now. So he is continuing to raise money for this project with his own website with Future Heroes, and people can go there to donate and to support projects and to also become heroes themselves, because he believes that as he continues to help people and uplift them, others will also feel inspired to do something similar. Oh, and you thought that was all. That's not all he actually does. While he visits kids in the hospital and brings them prizes, he also makes it a point to go visit homeless camps to bring them food and clothing. Again, he's visited all 50 states twice, and he has really taken an interest in helping the homeless population around the country find what they need that day, and then also empower them with the skills that they need to have a better tomorrow. He says that he is drawn to homeless people and really wants to hear their stories and understand how he can help. He really is incredible. So lately on his Facebook page, he posted about a man that he met while he was at his storage unit. He says, "Nothing is a mistake. Nothing is a coincidence. We were meant to meet." The story was so sweet, and he posted it just so humbly and so helpfully and in an inspiring way. So he said, "This is the man I met." He even got permission to show a little video of him introducing himself. And he spent the next hour at that storage unit just listening to his story, understanding what was hard for him, he got to tell Yuri how much it meant to him that he got to talk to somebody that would actually listen. And Yuri got to understand what that man's current struggles were, and then even set up a little campaign on his Facebook page that day where people could go donate to help him meet some bills that were impending for him. And so just by his kindness to introduce himself and talk to the people around him, he was able to really help this man have a much better day and a much better month, because he really got the help that he needed through Yuri's help on the internet. It was such an amazing story to read, along with that video to watch. It was so inspiring, and this is just one example of so many amazing heroes in communities right now. I bet you yourself could think of somebody in your community who's always giving. It reminds me of that show. Have you seen it? It's called Random Acts. And what happens is in the community, someone nominates somebody to be eligible for an amazing little prize or a little break or something to make their dreams come true, because the people nominate that person in the community because they're so positively affecting everybody else. So they pick people like amazing waiters or social workers or a teacher that's really admired, or even a mother in the neighborhood who they just get service from all the time. These people are very secretly surprised by an amazing team on TV to give back a little bit of the service that they always give to the community. And those stories just inspire me so much, because while you don't have to organize an enormous service project or go to all 50 states today to serve kids in hospitals, what you can do is just look around your community or in your circle of friends and see what kindnesses they need. So you could help your friends build some furniture. That's never super fun to do by yourself. You could send a text to somebody that you love or someone you haven't talked to in a while. Right now it feels like we haven't talked to anybody in a while. And so it can really brighten somebody's day to get a text from you that just says, "Hey, I'm thinking about you. I think that you're marvelous. And remember that one time where we got to go to this concert or do this project in school together? Yeah, that was a really fun memory for me. And so thanks for being there at that time in my life. I think that you're great." And I mean, there's nothing bad that can happen from you telling someone how great that you think they are. And it really works both ways, because not only are you uplifting them, but just like Yuri Williams says, as being this superhero, it's amazing how happy you feel after you go and give that service to other people. It really is a form of caring for yourself and your mind and your emotions, because especially being kind of in our houses a lot lately by ourselves or just with the same people, we can kind of get stuck in our minds thinking, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm not doing enough, or I'm not doing well enough at my own work. But once we really step outward from that sense of what we're feeling, and then move on to somebody else, worrying about somebody else, and taking action, helping them, and trying to uplift them, that's where we can really score those big points on happiness in our hearts that lasts. So I just love that story. And now it's time for a little bit of a break. But next up, the theaters may be closed, but Broadway is still telling a big story. Next up, we'll learn how a new group is bringing equality to center stage. So stay tuned for that.
The GSMC Life and Happiness podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Network. I hope you enjoyed that last story. It was such a special one for me to read about and watch all the videos about, because I just love hearing about how people are inspired to go on and help other people. It's absolutely amazing. So I hope you thought of a couple ideas of something that you can do to help other people and also feel that happiness yourself. All right, are you ready to get to Broadway? I am. I've never seen a Broadway show, but I've always been so in love with theater, but I haven't made my way over to the East Coast yet to see it. But right now, Broadway is actually shut down. No shows are showing on Broadway right now due to the coronavirus. Just like everything is due to the coronavirus. But don't worry, there's still lots of good news happening in New York and among performers, especially this really special event that happened this past weekend. The Black Theater United Coalition held their inaugural event. Black Theater United is a new group. It's a group formed by lots of people who are big names in Broadway. They formed this group to uplift Black voices and empower the theater community to pursue equality. Now, theater is a huge part of entertainment, especially in New York. And so, of course, the stories that are told there and the actors and producers, writers, performers, technicians, everyone that is represented there tells a story outward to the audience of what codes we can learn and what stories we should actually be telling in our lives. So this coalition was only recently established just in June to be able to uplift voices better and to more thoroughly understand the hardships that people of color can experience in the theater and beyond. So Black Theater United was established by numerous theater professionals. There's about 15 people who founded the coalition, and then there's hundreds that are all a part of it now. And all of these people in the coalition, and it's just starting now, it includes performers, directors, technicians, producers, writers, and more. It's absolutely incredible. And one of the founders is Audra McDonald. She is a 6-time Tony Award winner. She's busy and she's amazing, but she, along with many other huge theater professionals, felt this was so important to jump right on that they got it together so quickly, and this weekend they had their inaugural event. It's their very first event, and they hosted it as an online town hall meeting where Audra McDonald, she virtually sat down with Sherilyn Ifill, the president of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. Now, these two women are incredible. They are powerful, they are talented, they are dedicated to their field, and they are able to really represent people of color in a way that helps inspire the movement toward equality and to understand what everyone can do to help go towards that. And of course, that is what we all want, and it's such a beautiful thing to see. In this meeting, they discussed how we can more effectively survive and thrive by uplifting each other through the theater, creating stronger representation, and overall expressing a lot more love for each other. I love this quote that Sherilyn Ifill said while she was discussing this point, and she said, "At this point, we can focus our energy on how to survive and thrive and support each other." I thought that was so beautiful because she was kind of asked to respond to how all this negativity has affected her lately, and it's no joke. It has been so difficult to watch all the hardship, but there has been so many wonderful people who have banded together, like Audra and Sherilyn and the whole coalition, who have made organizations, who have made new friends, and who have made new movements toward better love and equality in our country. Now, this town hall meeting is still available on YouTube. It was about an hour and a half long, and they discussed so many important things like recent events and how each of them got into theater, and hearing their stories about how they first experienced the theater was really, really special. I especially loved so now Sherilyn is not a theater person, but she is the president of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. So she was really able to give a unique perspective for theater goers and for performers and other theater professionals to better understand what that side of the equation looks like and how we can help as storytellers in the theater. It was so amazing and so empowering and really inspiring. So their goal is to host these town hall meetings regularly to help other people understand and really enjoy the voices of the Black community, so they can be more widely understood and accepted, and so that we can really bring that equality to Broadway and beyond. So I just love that this story came into light after so much darkness in the past couple months, because theater is a place that I grew up in, just really loving. I have been an actress for a while, and I just absolutely love performing on stage, and especially in middle school and high school, where I'm sure all of us have times where we feel like we really don't belong in some certain group or whatever, and whether intentionally or unintentionally, those groups are created, and somebody can feel left out or alienated. But in theater, I was really able to find friends, and I was able to find a place to safely express my creativity in a way that really helped my mental health, my physical health, and just overall gave me really wonderful memories. And so I just loved hearing stories about other girls who had worked really hard and became incredible actresses, even on Broadway. And even if that wasn't my goal, I just loved seeing those stories and seeing them, watching theater on stage, to see lots of different kinds of people on stage performing and totally rocking it up there. And I think that experience is comparable to everyone in some arena, right? Maybe for you it was a sport, or writing, or TV and television and movies, or something that you are passionate about. The people that are represented in that area can really give you a sense of what it's like there. And if they are there having a really good time, I think that gives the person watching hope that they can have a similar experience. And so I was really grateful that theater was there for me to give me a safe place to watch really good stories, which helped me understand better the world around me. Even if I couldn't experience something firsthand, if I could do a play about it or experience a scene and have that type of relationship with somebody in a show, then I could better have the compassion to understand in the real world what somebody else might be going through. And so by participating in that and then showing it to an audience, then the audience also can have that experience and better understand maybe what's going on at this time in history in Scotland, or what it was like for Iraqi soldiers to go through what they went through. These are the things that are possible through storytelling in theater. So I'm just so glad that Black Theater United is working so hard to help increase representation in theater, because as representation grows, it will continue to be a safe place for other people who are interested in the arts and in that environment to be drawn to the theater and know that their stories are important and that their stories will be heard, and also that they can continue to be uplifted by the theater, or by, this can grow and they can feel safer and absolutely accepted in whatever area that they choose to be in. So I think that is just so great, and we have even more happy news coming up for you. It's time for another break because I need a snack, but thinking about snacks has got me excited about our next story. It's all about a very exciting new cake. So stick around for a slice of cake and we will enjoy it together.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the show. I'm still your host, Brooklyn Tanner, and you're listening to the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Network. We're so glad you're here today. What is the most important part of a birthday? I need to know because my birthday is coming up, actually, and you know it. It's cake. Everyone's got their favorite flavor, and who doesn't like cake? And even if I don't know, cake is just quintessential and marvelous. And so I'm really excited that we have a story all about cake today. The exciting news is that Funfetti cake, thanks to Pillsbury, is now available in chocolate. So, you know about Funfetti cake, right? It's either a vanilla or a yellow cake that has sprinkles mixed into it. So when you make the cake and then you cut it up, it just looks like a rainbow happy explosion of goodness and joy inside. And then it feels that way in your mouth and stomach too. It's so much fun to look at and so much fun to eat and has really been a classic. And an even trendy cake lately in wedding cakes I've started to see on the Instagrams. But now you really can have it all, people. Funfetti cake now comes in chocolate flavor. No, I'm not lying. I'm just making your life way better by letting you know that Funfetti cake is now in chocolate. It's a chocolate Funfetti cake. It's by Pillsbury, and it comes in a 15-ounce box, which means you can make a whole cake out of it or 24 cupcakes. Sometimes that feels like a more efficient way to kind of get the cake in your body. So whether you prefer chocolate, vanilla, yellow, Funfetti cake, whatever, you can have your news and eat your cake too. Nothing beats a homemade cake. It's so much fun. And box mixes, I use them all the time. I mean, it's so easy to just like grab it off the shelf, mix in the 2 or 3 ingredients that it requires, and then bam, you got your own cake. One of the funnest parts is like matching up the frostings to what you want to do. That part is so exciting to me, and I love it because it's like one thing to choose the flavor of cake that you like, but like, do you go with the same flavor for the frosting, or do you go with a different flavor that you feel like pairs well? I feel like with a chocolate cake, I usually go for like a vanilla or some kind of cream cheese frosting together with that, but I don't know, do you go for something citrusy? Do you go chocolate on chocolate? Well, of course, with chocolate Funfetti cake mix, you can do whatever you want. You can even have chocolate Funfetti frosting by adding some sprinkles on top. Oh, doesn't that sound amazing? Yeah, I'm really hungry now. So I think I would eat all those cupcakes by myself if I made them. So that's a ton of fun. So pick up that at the store next time you're there, if that sounds fun to you, and eat them all by yourself or share with your family. Hey, now speaking of licking the plate clean, guess what? a new article has come out, breaking news, that Vermont is becoming the first state to ban food waste. That's right. So Vermont, a state over there on the East Coast, is starting to ban food waste. It's an incredible step towards saving the environment and reducing single-use plastics. We love our Earth and all that she does for us, and it's probably a little bit better if we reduce the waste and food waste that we create. So what they're doing is they're trying to encourage more broadly composting. Now, composting is a way of disposing of garbage where anything that's biodegradable goes into a special bin that is going to be used later as compost to continue to help other things grow in the ground. It's a really amazing way to eliminate food waste because you use up your food, and then if you have something like a banana peel, it can go straight in the compost bin, and then that combines with the other food trash that's no longer edible to create an amazing compost. So this actually was a new piece of legislation to help ban food waste. So it prohibits the disposal of compostable food waste like eggshells, coffee grounds, old bread, and fruit skins, like I said, banana peels. And so stuff like that needs to go into the compost bin. This will reduce the volume of regular trash and also encourage people to be a little bit more mindful of how they're eating their food. It's very exciting, and Vermont is trying really hard to cut the trash that they are putting out into the landfill because, those things are filling up fast. And so the more that a state is able to make simple recycling and composting and reducing waste, the better that we're able to cut down the volume of those landfills. So it's pretty incredible because Vermont, as a state, actually takes a survey every 5 years about what's being thrown out. And the most recent survey found that 20% of the household waste is food scraps, and that could be composted into fertilizer to be supporting of the fields and farms in Vermont to be even better for the environment. Win, win, win. So, this is not a hard thing to learn. People are quickly understanding how to be able to compost, but some funny comments were like, how are they going to regulate this? Are they going to be out in the garbage looking for apple cores? But mostly for now, they just said that the state will not be policing other people's garbage on the roadside. It's more of a plan to take advantage of, and they're going to be providing the resources to more easily being able to compost. So that's a very exciting step in the right environmental direction. We're so excited about that. So just think of maybe something that you can do today to reduce a little bit of waste or enjoy the earth more today. I find it really clarifying and helpful to just go outside. Of course, not near people right now, but go outside where there's a few more trees or flowers in this spring and summertime to just enjoy the beautiful earth that we are provided with. Oh, it's so wonderful because if you take a breath of fresh air underneath a tree, it fills up your mind with clarity, and you can just take a second away from media after you're done listening to this amazing podcast to be able to enjoy where you are and really love your earth and feel a little bit more centered. So I'm glad that as a country, we're trying harder to move closer to a sustainable environment so we can enjoy the earth even longer with our families. All right, I'm thinking it's time for just one more break, and then we'll get down to our very exciting cap of a story. Are you more of a dog person or a dog person? That's right, I have lots of fun stories about dogs today, so let's get into them right after this.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's gsmcpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
To the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Network. I'm still your host, live but not from New York, Brooklyn Tanner. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast today, and it's well worth it because this is a pretty exciting story. Now, whether you're a dog person or not, I think you can appreciate a record-breaking dog. That's right. A dog has broken the world record for most tennis balls held in his mouth. This story has been going wild on social media. When the dog owner posted about it, everyone is excited. So submit your guesses now about how many balls this dog, tennis balls, was able to fit in his mouth. I'm looking at a picture of him and it's just so cute and so funny. It's a big, he's definitely a golden retriever. And I mean, he's got his cheeks totally full of tennis balls and then like two stacked and then like a bunch I can't see. Okay, so drum roll. The amount of balls that this golden retriever has in his mouth is 6. 6 tennis balls. That's pretty amazing. So this dog is incredible. He is 6 years old. And earlier in the week, his name is Finley. That's adorable. And this is the record he is breaking for the most tennis balls in a dog's mouth at one time. So according to his human companion, Aaron, Finley has been picking up tennis balls since he was only 2. So he has an affinity for these tennis balls, and he was training for 4 years to break this record. So his human, Erin, has an Instagram account just for sharing her puppy's talents with the world. And this dog has over 36,000 followers to see what he's up to at any given time. So, of course, when the dog broke the record, Finley went viral on the internet to let everybody know how exciting it was that he broke the record for number of tennis balls in his mouth. So, good for you, Finley. We are extremely happy for you. And let me tell you, this picture is so cute. He is seriously smiling from dog ear to dog ear. It is so cute. Oh, I love it. All right. Now, another exciting thing is, it's true. People really love their dogs, and people love other people's dogs as well. I loved this story when I heard it, and it comes with another super cute picture. Now, here's the headline. A supermarket security guard is going viral for holding an umbrella over a dog standing in the rain. How cute is that? This sweet supermarket security guard lives in England, and he is so kindly holding his umbrella over a dog who is standing outside waiting for his owner to come out of the store. Now, this guard's name is Ethan Dearman, and he patrols the parking lot of Morrison's grocery store in Giffnock, and he, by the internet, on Twitter, is being hailed an everyday hero after he was photographed holding an umbrella over the dog's head in the rain. Now, this is just so sweet to me because this is the best part. He says in a quote, he just says, well, happiness is a warm puppy, and you never really know how dogs feel about the rain. I just love that. I just love that he was considerate enough to think, hey, you know what? Maybe dogs don't like getting wet in the rain, just like me. So I think I can take a break from using my umbrella for a little bit and just keep this dog dry. So I don't think that he thought anyone was going to see him do this or let alone photograph it. But somebody did, and it went viral on Twitter. And eventually the picture got around enough that the dog owner saw it. And then he commented on it saying that grocery store security guard, Ethan, has always been super nice to not only his dogs, but his whole family. So never think that your acts of kindness go unnoticed. Truly, they are so important. Even if you don't think that they go unnoticed, often it's the best part of somebody's day. So can you think of something that happened to you today where that was an act of kindness from somebody else? I know I feel so grateful anytime I received an act of kindness, and so I want to share one that was given to me. Yesterday, I got a text message from a friend of mine that I haven't heard of in a while, and she was like, hey, I just remember this really cool memory, and wasn't it funny when this happened? Okay, just hope you're having a good day. And I wasn't having the best day so far, and I hadn't heard from her in a couple of years, so just getting that text, it wasn't anything super profound, but I just felt thought of, and I remembered that really happy memory we had, and that just really lifted up my spirits and helped me feel way better about the day. So don't forget, you are amazing. And just by listening to this podcast, I know that you have a kind heart. So thanks for being a great force of positivity in the world. Now, I have one more really sweet dog story for you before we finish out here. So this is a really sweet story about how a dog in need got the help he really needed at just the right time. So a dog owner was really in distress when his dog collapsed right outside of the car. The dog had recently had surgery and he was now on the ground just staring in front of him, and he wasn't able to move. He was in the middle of the road, and his owner has a really big dog and couldn't move the dog by himself. So this dog had already been through a lot. It just had surgery to remove 2 tumors from his hind leg, and the leg just stopped working as he came down from the car, and so he wasn't able to pick up his dog at a very high weight, and so the dog was kind of in a really tough spot. But luckily, neighbors showed up just in the nick of time, and one found a blanket to cover the dog from the cold rain that was going on, and another one kind of patrolled traffic to make sure that the dog wasn't going to get startled by the cars going by or hit by any of them going by. And so another neighbor came in and thought really quick to call the veterinary hotline and get some really good advice to help the dog get out of the pain that it was feeling. So soon enough, they were able to protect the dog long enough to help him get back inside and really save the dog from a lot of pain. So the owner was just absolutely touched and thought that the neighbors were just acting like angels, coming in to help his dog right in the nick of time. This is such a sweet story because I love how the neighbors, they didn't plan on doing anything like that day, but they really took half an hour to an hour to go help somebody in need immediately when they saw it. That was just so sweet. And of course, everyone that likes dogs, they like dogs, but maybe you don't care for someone's dog as much as they care for their own dog. But that's what it's about, right? Showing care for somebody or something that they care about, and then therefore they feel more valued. So I thought that was such a sweet story, and I'm so grateful to have been able to listen and read about all of these stories today, from amazing dogs to delicious cake to amazing strides being made in Broadway towards equality and amazing real life superheroes. So I hope you can see lots of positive news in your life today. Don't let the bad news get you down. Just stay positive. And thank you so much for listening today. I had a blast with you. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to give us a great review on your favorite podcast platform. And if you're already here at the end, that means you enjoyed the podcast. So go ahead and subscribe. Remember to subscribe to the show and make sure you write that review, which really, really helps us out. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find our account for the GSMC Podcast Network and specifically this podcast, GSMC America Still Beautiful. Thank you again so much for listening to the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a really great day. So make it a great one, and see you next time. Bye-bye!
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts, America Still Beautiful podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows. From the GSMC Podcast Network, from social media news to marketing news, and even weird news, the GSMC Podcast Network has you covered. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts, America Still Beautiful podcast.